everyone, and welcome back to Walcott Fine Art. In today's video, I thought that we would take a look at some common oil paint whites on the market and how they mix with color so you can see their properties a little bit more closely. And so today I'll be testing two types of titanium white, a flake white hue and then a genuine lead white. I'm not going to be doing any zinc white today, and I'll explain the reason for that a little bit later in the video. So let's get started. So the first white we have here is the most common one that you'll find on the market, and that's a tube. It's usually labeled titanium white. Sometimes you'll see it labeled as titanium zinc white, but most of the time they do add a little bit of zinc to the titanium white on most titanium whites. And the reason for that is it makes the paint a little more usable, and it cuts down on the really intense white chalkiness that pure titanium white has. So I have equal portions of each kind of white measured out here, and then equal portions of this Winsor Newton cadmium red measured out here. So we'll just mix these two together, and so you'll be able to compare how the white mixes with the color. So let's go ahead and just do that. So this is the standard sort of common titanium white that you'll find on the market. And now we can compare that here to this. This is now this is Gamblin's. This was Daniel Smith. This was Gamblin's titanium white. Now Gamblin does not add any zinc to their white, so this is pure titanium white. And you'll see when you mix it together with the red, how much lighter it is and sort of chalkier looking it is than this one. Now this is also titanium white, but it has the zinc in it. And so let me see if I can get that closer to the camera so you can see the difference. See, look at the color difference in those two. Now remember, the exact same proportions of the exact same color, but this light one here is the pure titanium white, and that's one of the reasons that pure titanium white sometimes can be a little bit difficult to work with. But that brings up the other issue, which I mentioned before about why I'm not doing zinc white, is that a lot of manufacturers do add that zinc to their titanium white to make it more usable. The problem is now they're finding out more and more evidence that zinc white is not archival, and that whites mixed with zinc and even colors mixed with zinc can end up having a lot of problems in terms of the paint layers cracking, flaking off the canvas. And so there's some more research that needs to be done about that. It's why I don't use pure zinc white in my work. I've never used it. But these companies like Gamblin and Williamsburg, and there's a few others now that are reformulating their titanium whites so that they contain no zinc. But then it does mean that that titanium white is going to be a little bit more chalky. And so the zinc does add a pleasing property to the paint, and that's so you're going to have to kind of weigh your options and decide which one is right for you. And the thing is, if you are going to use colors with zinc in it, then I would suggest painting on a rigid support like a panel, a canvas panel or a wood panel, because oil paintings, regardless, always fare better on rigid supports than they do on canvas. So it's not a big thing to freak out about, but it's just something to be aware of that has come up to be an issue in the last few years. So the next white here, now this is Winsor Newton's flake white hue. This is technically a titanium zinc white, but it's been formulated to kind of mimic the properties of lead white. And a few of the lead white imitations that I've tested, this one is my favorite. The Gamblin one tends to yellow very badly, very quickly. The samples that I've used with that yellowed a lot, like just within a couple years, which it shouldn't do. So I found that the Winsor Newton one is pretty nice. So we'll take a look at that mixed together with the cadmium red. Now you see, because this is formulated to behave like a lead white, and lead white is much more transparent, and it doesn't have the tinting power that titanium white does. So you see just the difference again. This is much darker, mixing it with the same volume of red, same pigment, but it's much darker because this is formulated to behave like a lead white, which is not as bright white as titanium white. And finally, we'll go with the genuine lead white. This is Michael Harding's Kremnitz white. Oops. And we'll take a look and see how that does with the so that is the darkest one of all, because again, lead white has that lower tinting strength. It's just a natural property of the pigment, and its chemical structure. So, but because it has that sort of translucency to it, it creates beautiful effects. It's not as chalky looking, but of course the downside of lead white is not only do you have to be careful with it in terms of safety, but it is also very, very expensive. So if I bring this up toward the camera so you can see more closely, you can see what a difference it makes. This is the lead white, that's the darkest and has the lowest tinting strength. The middle of the road one is the flake white hue from Winsor & Newton, which is a titanium zinc white, but it's formulated to be less powerful. Then you have the standard titanium white with a little bit of zinc in it. That's a little bit brighter and has a higher tinting strength. And then all the way up to the very top, you have the plain pure titanium white from Gamblin, which is the most chalky and bright white of all. So that gives you an idea a bit how the different whites mix together with colors. And again, that issue with the zinc is something that each artist has to weigh the pros and cons of for themselves. Some artists want to avoid it at all costs. The paint manufacturers are taking steps to combat it, but not in every case. So my suggestion would be, because the titanium whites containing the zinc they do mix better and they create better tints than the pure titanium white, I would just always paint on a panel or a rigid support. And again, that's more of an issue if you're going to be selling your work and you want it to last for a long time, as a family heirloom to your collectors. If you're just a hobby artist and you don't care if your work lasts a long time, then it's not as big of a deal. But it's just something to be aware of, because I did have a couple of questions recently about that zinc white issue. But at the very least, I would totally avoid using zinc white, pure zinc white. I wouldn't use that at all. So for me, my favorite two whites are the flake white hue from Winsor & Newton, and then any kind of lead, genuine pure lead white. The Michael Harding's nice. I also really like the Rublev's lead white #1. So those are the two that I use in my work. And so anyway, I hope this video proves helpful to you and that you enjoyed watching it. Thanks for being with me today, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button so you won't miss the next video. And why not spread the joy? Be sure to share my videos on your favorite social media. Don't forget to head on over to my website, walcottfineart.com, where you can see my art, read my blog, or when you join my newsletter list, you can win free art. Every month, I'll choose a lucky winner from my email list, and that person will receive a mini original oil painting. There's a chance to win every month, so Be sure to sign up today so you don't miss out. Plus, you'll get my fun newsletter. See you next time!